Has this happened to anyone else? So, remember when you were younger and maybe you were riding in the car with like an elder, like a parent or an aunt or an uncle, and they may have had on the oldie station, and maybe when you were younger, you're like, oh gosh, I can't believe we have to listen to this, and you're just like, whatever. And said older person that is driving would say, oh my gosh, I used to love this song. This was when I was in blank grade, like fill in the blank. And you're just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever, like, who cares, Now some of those songs I really enjoy, like in my older age. But I used to always eye roll at that. And then the other day I was in the car by myself and this song came on and I was like, oh my gosh. This song was when I was in like the summer in between like sophomore year and junior year of high school. It was Bittersweet Symphony. I think that was what grade I was. Anyway, whatever. The verb, Bittersweet Symphony. And I stopped myself and just started laughing because I was like, first of all, how dare you be saying, oh my gosh, this was such a good song when I was in fill in the blank. You used to roll your eyes at people when they would say that. And second of all, the audacity of these radio stations to be telling me that songs that I listened to in high school are now throwbacks. The disrespect. I can't even. Ugh. Anyway, it's been fun jamming out. All right. With that, let's get into it. Take 41. What's good, peacemakers? Welcome to another episode of the Piece for Peace Crafting Podcast. I'm Michael, and this is my fibery corner of the YouTube universe. If you would like to check me out on any other social media, you can do so by following me on Instagram as Piece4PeaceCrafting. I'm over on Ravelry as Piece4PeaceCraft. There is a podcast group over in Ravelry, if that's accessible to you, at Piece4PeaceCrafting Podcast. And if you like jamming out to music, you can join the Piece for Peace Crafting Podcast playlist over on Spotify. I think that's everywhere you can find me. I hope everyone is doing well. If this is your first time joining, welcome. I hope that you enjoy the content that is in this episode. And if you do, please feel free to do all that fun YouTube-y stuff. Like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, post it somewhere, tag me, all that jazz. And if you're returning, what's good, y'all? Welcome back. How's everyone doing? It has been 2 weeks since I last recorded. I think I recorded on a Monday last time too, so today is, I think it's the 25th or 26th of April. I don't really know. The days are zooming by. I honestly cannot believe we are in the last week of April, which is crazy. But it's all good, which means that the make-along that I have been running since the beginning of March, the SweaterMePeaceMAL, will end at the end of this week. So if you are catching this the last week of April, then you have a week left till the 30th to make sure you pop those in your finished objects over in the FO thread on Ravelry, or you can use the hashtag Piece4Peace. No, not Piece4Peace. Oh my gosh. This is a hot mess. You can use the hashtag SweaterMePeaceMAL over on Instagram, and I think I might pull one from each maybe. We'll see how the hashtag is going and all that jazz. So yeah, get those FOs in. It's been so fun. I'm loving seeing all of the beautiful sweaters that people are making. Yeah, it's been really dope to watch you all make some really awesome stuff. And I've been like writing, oh, this pattern would be really cool for like this person I know, or oh, I'm gonna make this for myself. So that's one of the fun things about make-alongs is you can sometimes get hip to new patterns that maybe you had no idea or that had just slipped under the radar. Yeah, so that's cool. Things are cool with me. Been busy. I wanted to record this past weekend, but in true Chicago fashion, as spring is approaching for us, we had our first in the 80s day on Saturday, which is a day that I was really planning to record. And I got up early and was like gonna start getting things together. And one of my roommates was like, we should go get breakfast sandwiches and walk over to the beach and just like feel the vibe out. Not get in the water. Yes, put our feet in the water, but not like go for a dip, you know what I mean? So we ended up just like having a day, just like putzing around and doing fun stuff. We sat at the beach for a while, which was really lovely. We did watch someone get in the water, like fully submerged, and we clapped for them because we put our feet in the water and it was freezing cold, but it was still so lovely to just be outside and soak up some of the rays from the sun and just hang out for the day. Yeah, it was a really awesome time. Anyway, yeah, so that's all I've really been up to. A lot of plant stuff. I think I've talked about this before on here. We have been, like, on the weekends, we like do our plant chores, if you can call it that. But we're like getting new stuff for the apartment, and I started propagating a bunch of stuff that has just been like kind of going wild. Some of our more viney things. So I do have one thing that's like plant related to share, just because I thought it would be fun. And then I have, of course, some fibery content for you all. So let's get into it, shall we? The first thing, since I was talking about my plants, is I, again, have been studying at the University of YouTube and really wanted to mount some things like on the wall. You know, you see like, oh, whatever, this fern looks really beautiful, or people who have like a whole like green wall. We've all been really loving it and like trying to decide if we want to do that to one of our walls in the house, which could be amazing, you know what I mean? So a couple weeks ago, we went to a plant store that's close to us. It's called Bloom. And I picked up a couple things. One of them, actually, I'm gonna pop up a photo of it is a bird's nest fern, but it's the hurricane variety. I'll put the picture in right here. So I decided that I was gonna mount that and hang it up in my bathroom. And the owner of the shop was like, oh, I've never seen one of these mounted before. And I was like, oh, well, it should be fine. Like you can hang other bird's nest ferns. So I did that and was really proud of myself. Like, oh my gosh, this turned out so well. And then the second thing I actually took off the wall to show you all was I got a Staghorn Fern. What? Isn't it so cute? And I decided to mount it on this little piece of cork bark. So kind of fiber related. I had to use twine to make a little hanger wire thing for it. So I had to drill into that and then used just fishing line. So that was sort of my fiber material and some sheet moss and sphagnum moss to mount this bad boy. I'm really excited. I'm mostly excited for when it starts to mature more and these top fronds get heavy enough and they start to spill over. I did a lot of research on them, making sure that I was hanging it the right way, making sure the little fronds, the new growth was on top. It was kind of a long journey, but yeah, I'm really excited to watch this one grow and take off. And where we have it in our living room is sort of in our, not sort of, it is in our sunroom, just hanging up on a wall where it's getting some indirect light, not anything that's like aggressive on it. But I'm really excited about this. I've never had one before, and I think it turned out really beautifully. And it sent us on a downward spiral, like in the best way possible. I'm gonna set it down. Where am I gonna put this? I'll put it over here. Sent us on a downward spiral in the best way possible. We have been rehydrating some orchids because the leaves were a little, what's that called? Acquired them like in a move, and some of the leaves were dehydrated, and so we've been taking some time to like rehydrate them by soaking, anyway, this is a long story, soaking them in tea for like half of the day and then drying them out at night. We were doing that for about 2 weeks ish, and now they're just sitting out drying. They need to be repotted, and I think after I did the Staghorn, we might mount a couple of them. We have 3. One will probably pot back in a little pot, and then the other 2 we're thinking about mounting and hanging them somewhere in the apartment. And I think, yeah, that's just so fun. It's like doesn't take up space on the ground. It's it's just like living wall art, which is so boss. I love it so much. So that's been part of my little journey lately, is crafting and making wall art. I also made a moss pole, which was really awesome and fun. Yeah, so like doing crafty things with plants. Anyway, it's been amazing. I'm absolutely loving it. Let me know if you're a plant person, if you are hanging stuff up and doing things and doing fun projects with your plants too. For those of you that left me recommendations for like plant tubers in the last episode, thank you so much. I've been checking those out, which has been really great, and just trying to get a better understanding of the stuff that we have in our home that's living other than us, if that makes sense. So that's that. Anywho, this isn't a plant tube channel, but it might become one. It won't. All right, let's get into some fun makes, shall we? I have 2 FOs and 2 works in progress that I want to show you all today. I have more than that in works in progress, but 2 worth showing today. So first up is I finished, so excited. I finished my hand spun socks. So the last time I showed these, I left the little marker on it. I was there, so I just had the leg to do. There's a little fuzz on there. And so I just knocked it out. These are the DRK Everyday Socks by Andrea Mowry. It's written for a fingering weight, and I think it has if I remember correctly, has a bunch of sizes from like kiddos to adults. And this was part of her Spin It to Knit It make along. And so I obviously didn't join it, but I was like, oh, this would be fun to try, especially after I saw a friend of mine make a pair of hand spun socks, and I was like, I need to just get on the ball and just like make something with my hand spun. So I am gonna set one down. I decided to do that. So these were, this was fiber that was from Alexandra. I do this every time. Art of Yarn, shop linked below. Everything I talk about will be linked below. And it is a 60-30-30 is what it said when I re-looked at my post on Instagram, because I don't have the tag for it anymore. And so it's merino, silk, and yak. And I have brought it with me. Let me make sure. I have 54 grams left. So in all honesty, if I used contrasting heels, toes, and cuffs, I could probably get a shorty, not probably, I could get a shorty pair of socks out of these, just like a plain vanilla pair of socks, which I think I'm gonna do because I wanna use this up. Although it seems silly to make another pair of socks with it. We'll see. Anyway, sorry, like literally real time me thinking about if that's a good choice or not. So I have 54 grams left. I think I might make another pair of socks with it, even though it would be cool to put it in something that like I'd wear up here. Really cool about this is it was my first time doing a Fleegle Heel, so that was interesting, just like making all of the increases and then doing this little heel turn and going back into the sock pattern. I think they turned out really well. Obviously there's no holes because I didn't have to pick up, but I think they're beautiful and they're giving me all the orange autumnal vibes that I absolutely love. The size for these it was 68 stitches. 68? Yeah, 68 stitches on a size 2.25, so a US 1. What else can I tell you about these? One of them, okay. Normally, since I started doing toe-up socks, which is just, is it true? I think it's just been this year. Let's say it's just been this year. I normally just bind off at the ends, sort of loosely, like whatever the pattern is. Excuse me, I just bind off. And on these, I went to do that and I did it and went to put one of them on and I was like, ooh, this is kind of tight. And so as I was pulling it over my heel, it snapped the bind off. So I had to go back and redo it, which was totally fine. And is sort of the story for this episode, redoing things. So it was fine. I just went in, picked it out, picked up the stitches, and then rebound off a little bit looser. I think normally I would go up a needle size to bind off. For them, for some reason, I was just a little bit tight this time around. I'm absolutely in love with them. I can't believe that this at one point was just fiber that someone dyed and then I spun it and now it's like an actual item that I can wear. It's still kind of wild to me. Like I'm definitely gaining my points for like moving to a farm and living there. I'm also interested to see how these wear. I know, or I've heard that silk is a good thing to like make fabric strong. So I'm interested to see what the wear on these will be. One, because they're hand spun, and two, because there's no nylon in it. But I guess people have been making socks and doing things before nylon was a thing, and I'm sure they'll be fine. If not, I can always fix them later, I guess. So that's the first thing. Pair of socks, super excited. How many times will you say super excited? So that's number one. Number two, I don't know if you all have noticed, but can we have a moment to discuss? Ooh. Let's all take a deep breath, contain our excitement. So I am a mess, and I finished my Ankers sweater by Petite Knit. This is my boyfriend size, is how it's listed on the pattern. Where to even start? So the yarn I used is KnitPicks Copra, which is the DK. So it is a merino and cashmere blend. And I held it, the pattern doesn't call for it, but I held it with the Aloft, which is their mohair. And so the like main color, the copra, was hemlock heather, and the mohair was labyrinth. I don't remember how many skeins of each I used, but I do have a Ravelry page if that's accessible to you, with like how much I used on there. Yeah. Actually, I need to go in and make some notes about this. So, I decided, I did my swatch for this way back when, and used the needle size that was recommended. I think it was a US 6, and it was a little, it was too small. Too small? Yeah, it was too small, so I needed to go up a needle size. And I wanted this to be sort of sweatshirty anyway. Sweatshirty, just like oversized slightly. And so I went up a needle size and did everything. And I did the same thing for the hem. Went up a needle size for that. But when I went to do the sleeves for them, I had heard someone else, I think Jonathan from Jonathan's Days, say that he just like knit it to the pattern. It was great, whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'm sure it'll be fine the way that it's written. I tried it on halfway through the decreases at 8, and it was halfway down my arm. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. I think it was another 8. Decreases will be fine. This is so boss. So I go about it. I do it. I like finish the ribbing. I'm like, I don't snip anything, but I'm so excited. I try it on, and my sleeves were like this on my hand, which is cute. It's giving me very Ariana Grande, like in the teens, you know what I mean? Oversized sweatshirts, high boots, screaming at the top of her lungs. And like for a day, I was like, oh, I think like this is gonna be the vibe. Like it's very oversized. It was cool out anyway, so I'm like, I can just like scrunch my fingers up and like be warm in it. And then the next day, I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. So I ended up undoing the bind off and then tinking back to like 3 decreases back. I wish I had the little ball that I snipped out on each, and then picked up and did 2 rounds and then a decrease, and then 2 rounds and then a decrease. So at the end, I don't know if you can tell, but you can't. At the end, yeah, here's better. At the end of the sweater, it does get a little tighter quicker, which I'm totally fine with because it was only 3 decreases. And then redid my ribbing for the sleeves, but on actually 2 sizes down. So I think I was supposed to do it on with going up a needle size. Is that true? I did it originally on a 5, and then I switched to a 4, which may be the size that's in the pattern, in all honesty. And I love it so much. It's a great fit. I'm super excited to wear the heck out of it. I went up a size, so I'm like a 43 if I want it to be fitted. So I went up to the 48, so it's definitely giving me that like those extra 5 to 6 inches of positive ease, which is what I wanted. So definitely wearing it under a t-shirt under, because it's so bougie. Cashmere and cashmere merino and mohair. It's, for me, it's super next to skin. It's so soft. It feels absolutely amazing. If we were in a time where like I wanted people to stand closer to me, I would definitely tell them to touch it. Just like pet my sweater, please, because it's so soft. And because I feel like this is kind of rambly. Hope you all are following. And because I held the mohair with it, which was a little darker, I'm obsessed with the color that that came out of it, like holding just the green and then that darker green together. I think this is about to be worn so much. Like I have something I'm going to later in the week, and I already know I'm packing this, well, because I have to teach, and then I'm going to the theater. I'm gonna put this in my little bag and I'm gonna wear it out, and I'm like, I can't stop smiling about it. I'm so excited. I feel like, and maybe other people will feel this too, like if you I was gonna say knit sweaters, but honestly, it's like low-key anything, really. But like you make something and maybe you have to do some alterations, or you need to take back, or you like need to do all these things to it, and it's not even a lot. But the end result is like even better than what you thought it was gonna be. Like maybe the fit is really on point. For me, the fit and the colors really like came together in a beautiful way. Like, it just makes me feel like a little bit pat myself on the back. Like, I made this. This is so awesome. And like, I'm excited for people to say, oh my gosh, this is such a beautiful sweater. And I can say, oh, this whole thing, I made it. You know what I mean? It's so silly. Anyway, really excited about this. So happy that it's done. And now I can focus my attention on my other sweater that I started, my Once in Floral, that has just been sitting in another room waiting for me to take it out of a timeout. And it wasn't in a timeout for any reason. It just was in a timeout. It happens. Whoopsie. Shiny objects over there. All right. So those are my finished objects. Let's get into some whips, shall we? All right, let's start here. So again, for those of you who have been here, you've seen this, but I've made a little bit of progress. Oh my gosh, did I even put, I didn't put a little marker. I'll have to remind myself to do that this time around. So I'm making the Wave of Change shawl / blanket. I'm making the shawl version that is a pattern by Denise Byron. And I'm using this Cascade 220 in these two colors. One of them is 4002 and the other one is, where's my little tag? 8393. So yeah, just this Cascade 220, it's a sport weight. The pattern is written for a sport weight, but for the shawl, but can be modified to be a bunch of different things. When we were doing the make along for it, there was a lovely woman. She's been in the make along in a few of them now. She did a fingering weight version, so it just ended up being like a little kerchief, which was so cute. In like a variegated yarn. It was really beautiful. So I'm using these two colors. Low contrast is kind of what I was going for. I said it before, these were both gonna be main colors in sweaters that I wanted to make. I'm not making those sweaters anymore just because I fell out of love with the other colors that were gonna go with these two colors. So and like I already own the pattern, so at some point they will get done. So here's where I am on that. I have to hold these because they will definitely fall. So this shawl / blanket starts in the middle, this little square, and then you keep building out from there. Every time I hold it up here, which I think has only been twice, this is my second time, the colors read way better than they do me just looking at them. It's perspective, right? So I think the last time I was about 10 of these stripes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I'm like in the middle of the 13th stripe. So if I don't even remember how many are in the original pattern. It's only a few more, I think. And then you do sort of like I think it's a garter border. I'm gonna go a little bit further than that because I want it to be a little bit more schlankety. And I was thinking, like in the pattern, she has it, the blanket size, she hung like on the wall, just as like, you know, some artwork. And I feel like because it's gonna be warm here, hopefully soon, that I might just do the same thing, like hang it up so I can look at it, and then when it gets cold, just take it down and wear it. You know what I mean? Loving how the two colors are playing together. It's giving me very subtle, but also I think it'll be super versatile. The cool thing about this is, so you knit a big square, square, and then you fold it in half to wear it as a shawl. So because it's sport weight and it's cold here, like the 2 layers on top of each other is gonna be super warm. So I'm excited for that. But because I'm making it a little bit bigger, it will be sort of like, it probably won't be a lap blanket, it's like a proper lap blanket, but like if it was cooler out, I could like put it over my legs or whatever if I was sitting outside, you know? We'll see if that ever happens, but I am loving the pattern. I said it before, I have made the jacket version of this pattern. I've made the sweater version of it twice, or the pullover version of it twice. I modified the pattern and made a pair of socks once. There's no pattern for the socks. I just like took the numbers and like I was like, oh, I can do this in a pair of socks. So I'm excited that there is another member of this collection, and I can't wait for this one to be done. I feel like if I just really plow away at it, I could get this one done pretty soon too. And hopefully put it up on the wall because it's gonna be beautiful. Like, yeah, I love it so much. All right, so that's thing 1. Thing 2 is, so I finished that pair of socks, the DRK Everyday Socks, and I not immediately, but is that true? Yeah, like the day I soaked them. No, that's not true. I finished them, and then like the next day, so Friday, if you're watching this like today, that it goes up on this Monday, I cast on another pair of socks. And like, I'm a little bit happy about that because I said I wanted to make more socks this year, and then whatever, I finished those, and I feel like the bug of like, okay, we're doing socks now, bit me. So I went to my stash, which is always fun to do, and I pulled out this Felici. It's from KnitPicks. And it's under the sea, so it's 218 yards and 50 grams, and it's just a superwash 75-25 superwash and nylon. Love it. I think I've seen some other people use this color too. Again, it's called Under the Sea, which, let's have a tangent. It reminds me of The Little Mermaid, obviously, right? Under the Sea, Sebastian giving you all the Caribbean vocals. Amazing. Which then led me to remember how funny that scene is. I'm gonna link it below. Treat yourself. Go watch Under the Sea from The Little Mermaid, the cartoon. The live action one is not out yet. And there's a couple parts. The snails, are they snails? At one point pop up on the screen and they're like, naturally eat, cracks me up. There's another part where Sebastian's talking about all the different fish and like what they do under the sea. And the flute is the Duke of Soul, and it's just the fish, and he looks to the side and just goes, yeah. Brings me so much joy. And then the blackfish singing and she just starts screaming is hilarious to me as well. Anyway, that's enough about The Little Mermaid. Disney is not cutting me a check. I started these. What? So these are the RYE Socks, the fingering weight version by Tin Can Knits. I made the worsted weight version back in late November, early December. For a production that we were doing, because the ballerinas needed a new pair of socks, and I said, oh, I'll just knit them for them. So these are the fingering weight version. This pattern is written top down, and I'm doing it the other way. I'm doing them toe up, so I'm just using the same formula. If you've seen the flax sweater, then you know that like garter panel that goes down the side. This is the same vibe, but going down the front of the sock. So it's vanilla, but not. I would consider these to be kind of vanilla. For these, again, always on a US 1, 2.25. I'm doing 72 stitches for these. And something I learned when I was doing the DRK socks was, is it the Turkish cast on? I think so, where you like wrap the two needles, the number of times that you, or like half the number of stitches you want to cast on, and then you knit into them one way, knit into them the other. And I'm sorry, but I'm like, okay, when I first, truth be told, when I did it the first time on those, I was like, ooh, why would you ever want to do this? This is so finicky. But the end result, absolutely love. And so I was like, okay, let me try it again with these. And it just, I'm going to try and show. But the toe is just so seamless. It's really pretty, I think. So anyway, I'm loving these. The colors are making me so happy. I know everyone says it, but like, doing striped socks is so much fun. I guess doing striped anything is so much fun because like you're excited to get to the next color. And to be quite honest, I've just been like, so I started these on, I think I cast them on Friday night. And then, well, Saturday was a bust because we were out all day. And then yesterday, Sunday, I just sat with, I don't know, something on Netflix. I think I was watching the last season of Shameless because I didn't watch it, and I love that show, and it takes place in Chicago, and it's the last season. And I just went to town on them. I was like, let me just see how much I can get done. So I'm about halfway through the foot. I have a little bit more to go. Maybe, I think I measured this morning, and I have about 2 more inches to go. And then I think for these, I'm gonna do an afterthought heel, and then just do the leg up the leg. So silly. Again, so these are the RYE Socks by Tin Can Knits. Love them. Loving these Felici striped socks. I feel like they should be coming out with new colors pretty soon. So I have to snag some of those. I think I only have 1 pair because it takes me 2 to do a pair. Although I was thinking the other day, I bet I could get 1 pair of shorties if I did contrasting heels and toes out of 1 skein. And I should try to do that at some point. Yeah, I'm loving these. This is gonna now be my, like, since that shawl is a little bit bigger, it's a little harder to just like throw in my bag and take on the go with me. I mean, it's not terrible, but these can now be my on-the-go socks, or on-the-go project will be these socks now. Yeah, so that's that. That is that. All right, last thing is music recommendations are coming back in the next episode. I had to do some diving to see what was going on with Spotify, and it looks like they have changed the way that they do their collaborative playlist tier. But also, I'll get into it. So now it looks like you have to invite people, and I think you can only invite up to 10 people to collaborate on a playlist with you, which on one hand is like, oh, that's it, like whatever. But on the other hand, I don't know if some of you who've been here for a while may remember, like, the playlist got taken over by someone randomly and it deleted out all the music and added like these random songs in there, whatever. I had to call Spotify and call them, get online and like get it restored, all this other jazz. So I'm hoping that that's the reasoning, is to stop people from doing that, because like that's so shady and it's super tacky. So I think moving forward, what we'll do is I will have a music recommendation, and then if people would like stuff added to it, you can leave it in the comments. If you are on Instagram, you can shoot me a DM and just say, hey, you should add this song. And then I'll keep up on it that way and just be adding music. I'll be the the person that's adding all of it, which is totally fine because I still want all of us to share in the music together. So I think that will be the easiest. So starting next week, I'll start going back in my vinyl collection and bringing out stuff to recommend. Actually, here's just one song for me to recommend to you. I showed Florence and the Machine before. They have a new album that is like on the way. I think it comes out the middle of next month. Anyway, there's a new song, Free, that is so much fun. I will link the music video below. But it just makes you want to go like this. I wish I had hair so it could like fly back and forth. I could put on a wig. Let me go find a wig. I know I got one in this house. So go check that song out. And then starting in the next episode, I will for sure bring back my albums, like my records, because I miss doing it. And yeah, I think it's a really dope little thing to end each episode. But I wanted to give you all a heads up on what's going on with Spotify if you haven't heard already. Anywho, again, this is the last week for the SweaterMePeaceMAL. So if you are working on a sweater and you want to potentially put your name in or your project in to win a prize, go over and do so in the Ravelry group or use the hashtag over on Instagram, and I will pull those probably May 1st. It's gonna be May. Yeah, and then that'll be the end of the end of that make-along. Other than that, I hope everyone is doing well or doing as well as you can for right now. Hopefully the season change isn't messing with people's allergies and things too much, and you are able to either start cuddling up in something warm or enjoying the hints of warm weather that are happening wherever you are. I know I'm enjoying all the things starting to sprout out. I don't really get allergies, so I'm sorry to everyone that does, because I think this time of year is so fun. And then, yeah, take care of yourselves. Find some time to relax. Take a couple of deep breaths if you need to. And yeah, stay well until the next time I see you. Make a piece, spread some peace.